Okay, guys, thank you for joining the lesson. Today's lesson is about the history of the crossbow. So let's watch the video first of all.
One weapon more than any other dominated warfare in the Norman period: the crossbow. Fourteenth-century crossbows like this were the culmination of centuries of development. With limbs made of steel, they were incredibly powerful. But earlier Norman crossbows had limbs made of wood.
There was a limit to how powerful these wooden bows could be.
So the idea that Norman crossbows were a powerful weapon is really a myth. Despite this, they were effective at medium range, and that was enough in battle. Drawing the bow repeatedly took a lot of strength. Thankfully, help was at hand.
A crossbowman spanned his weapon with a device called a belt and claw.
This gave him extra leverage, allowing him to use his back and legs to draw the string.
Crossbowmen were vulnerable on a battlefield, so they carried large shields called pavises, so they could hunker down behind, load, pop up, shoot, and then duck back down again to reload.
Crossbows were accurate, took less training, and used cheaper ammunition than the longbow. Most importantly, you could wait to take your shot, so they were perfect for siege situations. To protect crossbowmen when they were defending castles, they used specially built wooden galleries, called hoardings. But shooting down towards an approaching enemy presented its own problems. How to stop the bolt from falling off the crossbow before it could be shot?
What they did is just place the thumb loosely on the top of the bolt, which is just enough with light pressure to hold it in place.
Around 1200, the Norman wooden crossbow was superseded by a new design, the composite bow. With limbs made from horn and sinew, they could be made more compact than a wooden bow. And they could deliver up to 4 times the punch. They were, however, more expensive. So whether on the battlefield or the castle rampart, simple wooden crossbows remained the main weapon of the day.
Okay, guys, so what we're going to do now is just read through the transcript. Now, you can read through the transcript and you can see these words in bold right here. And these words are defined here in the vocabulary bank. So what I want you to do is open up the transcript and read through and just check out the vocabulary bank if you're unsure of what a word means. And then afterwards, don't worry if you don't fully understand it, because afterwards we're going to play some vocabulary games so that we can learn the vocabulary and get a better understanding of what these words mean. All right, so I'll give you some time to read through the transcript now. Okay, so if we've finished reading now, then let's move on to learning some of the vocabulary. Now, my advice is to have the vocabulary bank open and ready so that you can look at the vocabulary and learn it as best you can. And then we will play some vocabulary games so that we can try to use them, understand the meaning of the word a little bit more, and use them in a sentence and things like that. So we'll start with simple, drop that game actually, and we'll just play the guess what game, the fill in the blank, and then we'll do the multiple choice one. So the first word here is we have an adjective, and the opposite of the word is invincible. So when you're invincible, it means you cannot be killed. So this is the opposite of that. It means you very much can be killed. Any idea what the word might be? Let's have a clue. Another synonym, a synonym of the word is defenseless.
Approach.
It's not approach, no. So the line in the video was archers, crossbowmen on the battlefield are vulnerable. It means that they can be attacked. Okay, so it's the definition here is vulnerable. Can we say that? Yeah. It means capable of being hurt or injured, having a weakness. Yeah. Let's try another one. This time we have a noun, and we have the image of what looks like a volcano erupting. So if that doesn't help very much, let's try an example. So put something on a cut to make it stop bleeding. So when we want something to stop bleeding, we need to hold it down. What do we do?
Rampart.
Not rampart. Let's try another clue. A similar word is crush. And the definition is the applying of constant force upon a surface. Yes, it's pressure. Because when we press on something, like when we press on a cut to make it stop bleeding, that is pressure. So let's try another one. Now, here we have a noun. And this is basically a story that's probably not true. Or it's a myth. Well done. Yep. So the definition there is a story or body of stories based on tradition or legend, originated in the oral history of a pre-literate society. So basically stories that were passed down from parent to child or person to person by mouth in times before we wrote things down, or before most people could read or write. Okay, let's have another one. Now we have a noun, and the related word is assault. So this is sort of a word describing, yes, well done, it is siege. So it's when you have like a castle or a city or a fort, and it's surrounded on all sides by soldiers, by people. So they cut it off from supplies and reinforcements. It's called a siege, or a similar word here is blockade. Now we have a transitive verb, and a similar word is supplant. Another similar word, or a synonym, would be replace. So when something better comes along, it supplants the other thing. So supersede, yeah. So the definition here is to take over the position or influence of, to supersede something. So in the video there, it was saying that the composite bow superseded the crossbow because it was more powerful. However, it was also more expensive. So let's try another question now. Okay, level 2. Let's buy some of these powers that we can use. Okay. So now we have a noun, and the synonym is earthwork. So this is basically when you pile up a load of earth to kind of make a wall, a defensive wall, usually around a castle.
Rampart. It's
a rampart. Well done. So the example here is the Romans built a rampart around the town to defend it. So it's kind of like, yeah, kind of like usually a wall made of earth and sometimes reinforced with bricks or spiky sticks. Yep. And the definition here is a mound of earth raised to serve as a defensive fortification, often topped with a protective wall. Okay. Now we have an adjective, and the definition is free of mistakes or error. So when something has no mistakes or very few mistakes, it's accurate. Well done. So when something is true, as we can see here, or when something is correct, or when you try to hit a target in a game and you manage to hit that target, then your aim is accurate. So the example here is she gave an accurate description of the suspect. That means that she was able to talk about the person she saw and describe them accurately, properly, exactly how they looked. Next one, we have an adjective now. Let's take two of them away. The opposite word is weak. So let's have a look. And the definition is producing an adequate or desired result. So
Effective.
effective, yes. So when you do something and it works, when you have a way of doing something and it works well, we describe that as effective. So here's an example. Attacking at dawn, early in the morning, was an effective strategy. We now have a transitive verb, and the similar word is combine. So let's have a look at all the clues. The opposite word is loosen.
Composite.
It could be, but it's not. The definition is to consolidate, which means bring everything together into one place, or to compress.
Compact.
Yes, compact. So when we squeeze something down so that into a denser form, it's described as compact, or compact would be the adjective and compact would be the verb. All right, now we have another noun here, and the related word is completion. So let's see if we can work it out from there. Culmination, let's have a look. That's right. Yep, it's a culmination. So basically a culmination is the end result of something that you've been building up to for years and years, or for a long time. So culmination, everything that you've been working on, all working at once. Let's try a few of these points now. Now we have another noun, and the opposite word, the antonym, is withdrawal. So when you withdraw, you move away from something. So what's the opposite of moving away?
Siege. Siege.
Not siege, no. I can see where you're getting that idea, but no, it's not siege. I've taken away 3 of the answers. So when we move away, what do we do when we move towards something?
Approaching.
Approach, well done. So when we approach, it's the act of coming towards something or drawing near to something. So here's an example. The approach of a fox woke the chickens. Now remember, this is a noun, but it can also be used as a verb. We can also say, I approached them yesterday. But in this example, it's a noun. We say the approach of a fox woke the chickens. Right, very good. Next one, we have an adjective meaning costly. So something with a lot of cost.
Expensive.
Expensive, yeah. When something is expensive, it's costly. They went out for a costly dinner, not an expensive dinner. No, that's correct. To celebrate her promotion. Very good. All right, brilliant. Now we have a synonym, which is compound, and an adjective is the type of word it is. So let's take away some of the examples. So when we compound something, it's sort of like,
Composite.
Composite. And yes, you're right, composite. So when we talk about composite, we're talking about something that is composed of many parts, so made up of different elements or factors. So the composite bow that it talked about, the composite bow, was not made of just wood. It was also made of horn and sinew, and it will have had other things as well. And they're all put together to make a composite, sort of a collection of different parts. And here's the example. The composite score is the total of your verbal and math scores. So if you have a score for your speaking and a score for your maths, and you add them together, that is the composite score. Okay, we have a transitive verb here meaning direct, or a similar word is direct. Let's have all of the clues because this one's tricky. So
Accurate.
it's not accurate. So a synonym would be govern. So when we govern something, it means we make up rules for, you know, that organization. A similar word, okay, so you could say to control or use of power or influence to rule something.
Dominate.
Dominate, yep, very good. So the example is his authoritarian father dominated him to a stifling degree. That means he had a dad who controlled everything he did. Not very nice. And when it says in the video, the crossbow dominated warfare in the Norman period, it means that the crossbow was, you know, one of the most powerful weapons out there, one of the most dangerous. Okay, now we have a noun. The definition is a metal or wooden bar on a door that slides into a socket on a door frame to secure the door in a closed position. This is usually something that describes sort of a long cylindrical item, usually made of metal, but not always. Now, in the case, no, not a culmination. This is a noun for an actual thing that you can use. Okay. Now, the thing is the name of it's what we call the arrow that we use in a crossbow. So we don't call them arrows, we call them something else. They're sort of shorter. And it's also the name for the little piece of metal that you slide on a door to keep the door closed. Any ideas?
Siege.
This thing, this little bit of metal, it's called a bolt. Okay. So we have a bolt on a door, but we also have a bolt on a crossbow. And the bolt on the crossbow is the thing that shoots out. You probably would call it an arrow normally, but they're not technically arrows. When we use them in crossbow, it's a bolt. Okay. Fantastic work, guys. Really good. Got all of those correct. Fantastic. Right, let's try to use some of them in a sentence now. Okay, so the newspaper published an report of the event. So this is a report that is true. What's a word that we need? So if the report is mostly true or completely true, we would say it is an
Accurate.
accurate report. Very good, guys. She slid and opened the door.
Hot.
The bolt.
Bolt.
Very good. Yeah, the bolt. The other fox woke the chickens. So a fox comes walking over towards the chickens because it wants to eat them. What do we call it when we go towards something? When the fox goes towards the chickens?
Supersede.
Not supersede. Supersede is when something replaces something else. This is when you go towards. Yes, approach. The approach of a fox woke the chickens. Very good. The Soviet Union, the smaller communist nations of Europe. So this word means controlled, governed, dominated. Very good. All right. The new guidelines, the old ones. So they replace the old ones.
Supersede.
Supersede. Very good. The new guidelines supersede the old ones. Very good. According to the Greek Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to man. So this is a story that's probably not true.
Myth.
A myth. Very good, guys. A myth. These plants are delicate. That means they're easily broken. And highly to frost.
And highly culmination.
Not culmination. So they're weak against frost. So when it's very cold, these plants will probably die. Vulnerable. Yeah. Vulnerable to frost. Very good. Now, attacking at dawn was an strategy. What kind of strategy? It was a good strategy. It worked well.
Effective.
Effective strategy. Fantastic. His authoritarian father, him to a stifling degree. So this is controlled him.
Dominated.
Dominated him to a stifling degree. Very good. Of his career was when he became a principal dancer with the Royal Ballet. So this was the thing that happened, the best point of his career. So
Culmination.
The culmination. Very good. So the high point, the top point, the end. Fantastic. Okay, well done, guys. Now, before we go through the rest of those, I would like to do some of the reading quiz. Okay. So make sure you have the transcript open so that we can go through this. These questions should be in order. So read through the transcript with me and we will go through the quiz, okay? So we understand vocabulary right now. Now I'd like to go through the reading quiz, okay? Let me just get that ready, refresh that page. Okay, let's try to do as many questions as we can in the quiz, in the reading quiz. So let's open that up. So the crossbow warfare in the Norman period more than any other weapon. So is that controlled, caused, or destroyed?
Controlled.
Controlled, yep, because the original word is dominated. Very good. 14th century crossbows were the rampart of centuries of warfare, the result of centuries of development in the field of weaponry, or the weapon that superseded the composite bow. Is that A, B, or C?
C?
It's not C, because the composite bow superseded the crossbow. So it's the other way around. So it's not C.
B.
It is B, yep. The result of centuries, hundreds of years of development of weapons eventually led to the crossbow. The first Norman crossbow had wooden what? Sinew haunted, yes, limbs. Limbs. So, yeah. So limbs. So your arms and legs are your limbs. But on a crossbow, you have those little bits that stick out. They kind of look a little bit like arms. Those are called the limbs. The idea that Norman crossbows were a powerful weapon isn't exactly true, inaccurate, or composite.
Exactly true.
Yes, the idea that Norman crossbows were a powerful weapon is inaccurate, but it isn't exactly true. And it says up here, isn't. So it's not exactly true because it is a bit of a myth. Not really true. However, they were at medium range. So when you're not too far away from the opponent, they were too strong, good enough, or vulnerable?
C.
B, yeah, they were good enough. They were good enough at medium range. They could do some damage at medium range. Drawing the bow took a lot of strength. So is that drawing the bow with the belt and claw quickly or over and over again?
With the belt and claw.
No, they used the belt and claw because it made it easier to draw the bow. But drawing the bow, pulling it back over and over again, takes a lot of strength. So the answer is over and over again. Now, the word in the transcript is repeatedly. So when we say repeatedly, we mean over and over again. All right. A crossbowman spanned his weapon with a device called a belt and claw. This made drawing the string because they had the added power of their back and legs. So did it make it easier, harder, or more vulnerable?
More vulnerable.
No.
Easy.
Easier,
No.
yeah. The belt and claw allows you to, instead of just using your muscles in your arm, you would use the muscles in your leg and back as well. Crossbowmen were useless in battle, well protected, or at risk of injury or death in battle.
C.
It's
C.
C, yeah. They were at risk of injury or death because they were vulnerable in battle. So that means they needed to be protected by the little shields. And I think I've just ruined this question. Crossbowmen carried large something called pavises.
Shields.
Shields, very good. Yeah, large shields, not small shields. And they would hide behind them, wouldn't they? So crossbowmen could hunker down behind, load, pop up, shoot, and then back down again to hide, reload. Yeah, reload. So you see this word load, where you put the bolt onto the crossbow. And when you do it again, we call it reloading, because the prefix re means to do something again. Crossbows and took less training than the longbow. So is it?
Less accurate.
So read the transcript. What does it say in the transcript about crossbows?
Is their target more often?
Yeah, they were more accurate than the longbow, and they hit, which means they hit their target more often. All right, good job. Crossbows used ammunition than the longbow. So is it more expensive, less expensive, or less effective?
More expensive.
Ooh, okay, so we've got more expensive and less effective. Now, I'm afraid to tell you this, but you're actually both wrong. It was the ammunition was more effective in terms of accuracy and less expensive than the arrows required for the longbow, because crossbow bolts were very small. They were effective because you could wait to take your shot, unlike traditional bows where you had to hold the string constantly. So what were they effective in? Sieges. Very good. They were effective in sieges. Crossbow bolts could be held in place by using the thumb. Is that the horns of the thumb? The extreme pressure of the thumb. Do you have horns on your thumb? Do you have horns? No, neither do I. So is it extreme pressure or light pressure of the thumb?
Extreme.
It's light pressure, yeah. How much pressure can you put down with your thumb? Just a little bit, just light pressure. The Norman crossbow was largely replaced or superseded by the composite bow, the longbow, or the cannon. The composite bow, yeah. The composite bow was the one that was more effective and more accurate and lighter and more compact. The composite bow was made from wattle and daub, bricks and mortar, or horn and sinew.
Horn and sinew.
Very good, guys. Fantastic work. Okay, we're coming to the end now. So